Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we talk about what's really going on in the BRICS. Now today I want to talk about the EU, Russia, oil and gas. Now despite the sanctions imposed, 5 EU countries purchased oil and gas from Russia in January, totaling the amount of €1.2 billion. Now this raises the questions regarding the methods employed to circumvent the obstacles and the reasons for this apparent discrepancy between the official policy statements and business practices. Contrary to the EU's strategic objective of reducing its reliance on Russian energy resources, the 5 largest EU importers, which are France, Hungary, Slovakia, Belgium and Spain, paid €1.2 billion in January for Russian oil, pipeline and liquefied natural gas supplies, according to the Centre for Research on Clean Energy. Their calculations were based on data from the analytics company Kepler, the ship tracking portal Marine Traffic, the European network of gas transmission services. LNG purchases accounted for more than half of this amount. Now before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website SCOBRICSinsight.com to further develop it. You can do this by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now for watching because I do appreciate every viewer, and do keep the comments coming. Now France was the largest buyer importing gas from Russia for a total of €377 billion. In January, France's total LNG imports increased by 0.5%, while supplies from Russia increased 25% in a month and reached their highest level since January 2024. Overall, Russia accounted for more than a third of the country's total LNG imports. In second place is Hungary, with oil imports worth €182 million and pipeline gas worth €173 million. Slovakia is in third place, having purchased oil and gas worth €320 million, with pipeline oil accounting by more than 60% of this amount. Belgium and Spain each bought more than €150 million worth of fossil fuels in January, with LNG being its primary focus. Oil supplies to Europe are currently under an embargo, and there's only exceptions to this are 3 countries, which are Hungary, Slovakia and the Czech Republic. Now everybody knows these are landlocked countries and their refineries are set up for the Russian Urals grade, which there's no affordable replacement in terms of its chemical properties. It's actually very good for making petrol and diesel. So delivering oil to other oil refineries and processing it would be a significant infrastructure overhaul, necessitating huge investment in time and not to mention a lot of serious problems. So permission to buy Russian oil is outlined in the 6th sanctions package of 2022, which the countries refused to sign. As a result, the current contracts for the southern branch of the Druzhba or Freedom oil pipeline have been upheld, meaning that the countries retain the right to buy oil from Russia. Now Hungary and Slovakia are making full use of this for the right of their benefit of their economies, and why wouldn't they? Now, how did it happen that Brussels promised to get rid of energy dependence on Russia as quickly as possible, but instead is now increasing it? Well, according to the results of 2024, EU countries purchased record volumes of LNG from Russia, totaling 17.8 million tonnes, which exceeds the 2023 figure by more than 2 million tonnes. In addition, the remaining pipeline routes, Ukraine and Turkey stream, operated at a maximum capacity last year, with Europe receiving 50 million cubic metres per year by each of them. Of course, now only Turkish stream remains operational after the Zelensky's meltdown and basically saying, no, I don't want to sell any more gas. So 2.1 billion metres of gas was delivered by that route from the start of this year. That's from Turkish stream. Nevertheless, industry analysts can see that it's simply unable to handle the entire load. The oil supply to the EU is much more varied, with great reliance on tankers rather than pipeline. Europe purchases oil from a variety of countries, the US, Iraq, Norway, Kazakhstan, with Russian oil also being there, but it's part of the grey export mix category. They mix it with other products at sea, altering its country of origin, so, don't know where the oil is, so it's certainly not Russia. The shadow Russian fleet is still thriving, and Russia doesn't consider the oil to be of poor quality, so it refines it into oil products, then they sell it to the Europeans at significantly higher prices. I mean, according to Bloomberg's figures, Russia's income from the sale of oil and gas in January of this year was up 17% compared to January 2024. And this is notable given the imposition of what Biden administration terms was the toughest sanctions against the Russian oil sector at the conclusion of his terms in office. Meanwhile, European nations have devised methods to circumvent these restrictions. I mean, the Hungarian Foreign Minister, Peter Szijjártó, has reported that Hungary has identified a solution to procure Russian gas, oil and nuclear fuel without withstanding the US sanctions against Gazprom Bank. In response, Russia adopted amendments to the presidential decree for rubles only from 2022, which allowed a flexible approach to payments for just for supplies, while maintaining the fundamental principle. Now, this development is likely to be well received by those looking to buy oil and gas from Russia, as well as other parties involved. I mean, the focus is not exclusively on financial considerations, although price is a factor, but it's not the sole determining element, particularly in light of the price cap imposed on Russian oil. In the business context, predictability, reliability of supply are of paramount importance, especially given the political instability in the other countries which Europe can source energy. I mean, do remember, during the Soviet and post-Soviet periods, Russia was the most reliable supplier of energy resources to European countries. However, Europe's expansion has a significant impact on energy security that's been established over decades, and I think it's worth remembering the pipelines that took place and were involved at that particular era. It's been notable that Russian supplies have been consistently reliable and well established for decades, and that is the predictability that's the primary advantage of Russian oil and gas. It's also highlighting that the price is not a significant factor, that while Russian gas was previously criticised for being expensive, it was actually far cheaper and not more expensive for the EU than any other supplier, and certainly not US LNG. However, it has to be noted that the supply volumes have been higher in the past, and the Europeans themselves are aware of this fact, and have no doubt they will be noting that LNG was not initially included in the EU sanctions restrictions due to the lack of unanimity on the subject, and supplies to Hungary, the Czech Republic and Slovakia were quickly removed from the sanctions. So in January to December 2024, the total volume of oil supplies to Hungary for the Szachtomata refinery, the Czech Republic to the Litvinov, and to Slovakia for the Bratislava refinery amounted to 12 billion tonnes. It's a lot of oil. Now, addressing the Russophobia, the EU's efforts to reduce reliance on Russian fuel have been acknowledged as unsuccessful by the new EU Energy Commissioner Dan Jorgensen. In an interview with Politico, he called for a different approach to the problem. He said it's likely that this approach will not align with the politically motivated calls of the European officials. Does anybody really care? Now, according to Safanoma, the growing energy crisis in Europe, the rise in gas prices against the backdrop of energy shortages and the decommissioning of production facilities has forced them to change their approaches to the supply of Russian energy resources and the assessment of their level of toxicity. However, if alternative gas transportation routes were operational, Europe's supply would be even more abundant despite objections from Brussels. So, it's important to note that oil and gas are not directly purchased by Europe or individual countries, but rather by economic entities such as companies who then sell them on to their counterparties. Now, while some may initially object, they would too have to eventually recognise that the financial benefits of doing so, as competitors have done by entering agreements with Russia without facing any repercussions. Over time, there's going to be no significant opposition to Russian oil and gas. They're just going to have to get used to it. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and if you want to help me out, click on the thanks button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.